Welcome, family. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to Authentically Being Ava. I'm Ava. So, family, I wanted to come to you guys today to talk about my recent experience at the doctor's office. And this video is really about getting your blood pressure readings at the doctor's office. This issue didn't just start with just this one visit. This has been an ongoing thing that I've noticed. I usually have excellent blood pressures, usually no problems. I even have a cuff at home. So every time I would go to the doctor, I started to notice these issues that I'm about to speak on. So I tried to get knowledge myself as to what is the correct way to do a blood pressure reading. How should the arm be placed, or at what type of a position should it be? You know, how should you be sitting? You know, XYZ. So I went and did my own research because of these weird blood pressure readings. I would take my blood pressure before I go to the doctor so I know what it looks like. Now, I know that blood pressure readings sometimes fluctuate depending if, like I say, I'm rushing, bad traffic, I'm stressed out, or I get angry. I know that all of these things play a part in your blood pressure readings. I take that into account as well. So for me to have these elevated readings, say 90% of the time, and each time they want to put me on medication, and then they want to shame you or make you feel bad, telling you you're going to have a heart attack and all this stuff. All these people really care about is getting you on that medication. You all getting bonuses, you know, these nurse practitioners, for getting these high blood pressure readings and getting people on medication, because that's what it seems like. So like I said, I went into Googling, going on YouTube, talking to other doctors about correct blood pressure. They're not supposed to take your blood pressure reading over top of your sweat top or sweatshirt or, you know, all that. And I've had all of this done before. When my feet weren't placed, you know, flat on the floor, or where my arm was resting on the table or was in a downward position. All of this stuff is a no-no. And I'm looking this stuff and I'm not remembering, like, yeah, they were taking my blood pressure readings inaccurately, you know, most of the time that I went. You know, like, I thought it was insane. You would have a few nurse practitioners here and there and doctors who would, you know, say, well, you know what, you were rushing here, let's take it at the end of your visit, let's wait a little bit. You'll have some people that were like that, but the majority, you know, it's like, oh wow, this is high, oh, 155 over, you know. It's like, you know, party time. Like, they were ready to go celebrate. We got another person on high blood pressure medication, you know, like, that's how, I'm telling you, this is how they were acting. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? These people don't give a darn about my health or anything. So there was this one time, this was my fault, and yes, I had gained weight and my blood pressure had gone up. But this particular doctor that I had, he was a really, really good doctor. And he was kind of urging me, you know, oh my gosh, your weight's a little high, you've gained a few pounds since the last time I saw you, and blase, blase, your blood pressure's up. He suggested, okay, let's do this. Come back to see me in a month, and you said you were going to work out and stuff, which I did. And he said, let's see what your blood pressure looks like then. And I said, okay, bet, because I do have to get this weight off. And I ended up losing, I don't know how much weight, but I did lose maybe 10 pounds or something like that. And my blood pressure reading had gone back down to almost my normal reading, which was extremely healthy. So he was like, okay, you did it. All right. Now, I may have some more weight to lose too, but the point is, you know, he acted to me like a real doctor, you know, who understand that there are particular reasons and the causes of why things happen like this, stress and all this other stuff. But he was willing to let me work it out and deal with it before just trying to throw me on medication. But that's not what I'm seeing these days. You know, these other nurses and doctors, I'm just like really annoyed, and they're mainly African American. I'm going to be honest, but they are always pressing, oh, you're going to have to get on, and I'm like, no, I'm really not. I'm like, let me figure this out, you know. Or I'll sit up there and talk to them. I'm like, I just took my pressure this morning. I take it regularly, and it's normally around these numbers. This is a little high. This is excessive. So check this out. Now, I already mentioned to you that they don't always take the blood pressure reading correctly. The placement of your arm, how your arm is supposed to be up at, the heart level. It's supposed to be sitting and, inhale a little bit before, you know what I mean? All these different things. They don't want you to do any of called a sleeve. I said, y'all, this thing is real tight. Like, I'm not a person that's squeamish or who, just has a low tolerance for pain. I have a high tolerance. I can take stuff. But when I say that cuff, like, almost squeezed the life out of me, I'm like, this should not be that tight. I actually tensed up and was in pain. And I know my blood pressure shot up just from that alone. And I told them, and they just kept on like, she's exaggerating, she's being extra. And they're like, oh yeah, it's 160 over. I said, I guess it is. My blood pressure isn't normally that high. And then they're looking at me like, she's just saying that. And here I am right now, took my blood pressure this morning, and it's 114 over 78, which is excellent, okay? And I'm just like, I know me. They're just so in a rush, just in a huff to get everybody on high blood pressure medication. And it's just so sad, especially when you think about your own people. It's everything isn't about $1, like what? It's just so sad, family. But look, let me know in the comments, have you had this issue, noticed this too? Because I'm telling you the truth. When I finally did talk to one of my girlfriends about it, really just telling her what was going on with me, she was like, girl, I thought it was just me. I've had the same problem as well. And I was like, oh, I thought it was just me. She said, and I have a cuff at home. I was like, stop. So do I. She said, girl, I take mine every night, every morning. And she says that every time she goes to the doctor, which is maybe a couple of times a year, when she goes to the doctor, her blood pressure readings are always about 10 points higher than usual. I mean, and it could be, they call it a lab coat syndrome or whatever, something to that extent, where, people get extra anxious when they go to the doctor and their readings just tend to go up just because they're going to the doctor. I don't know. It could be that too. But I find it interesting that both of us are experiencing the same thing. And we go to two different doctors. She's on one side of town and I'm in another on another side. So I'm just like, okay. So this is interesting. Stuff that bugs me. I just want to talk to you guys about it, okay? Because it's really, really annoying. And it's not all doctors, but it's a lot of them. A lot of nurse practitioners. And they're not even doing their job. And it's like they can't even take constructive criticism. They want to look at you like, oh, you're just saying this because your reading is high and you're trying to get out of, not getting a prescription for high blood pressure medication. And, you're just being a problem patient. And I'm like, I'm really not. I am not at all. But I'm like, I know me. They don't know me. I know me, and I know what my blood pressure normally is. Nobody wants to be told you're doing your job incorrectly, so that, let's just put it there. That's really what the problem is. Nobody wants to be told that or hear that, and that could possibly be affecting, the outcome of blood pressure reading, and like I said, they're in the business to do things because they want a particular result. So, I put nothing past none of them, okay? I have no clue. I'm not saying they're in cahoots. I don't know, but I'm just saying something is off. The equipment, something is not right. Because, I've even bought another monitor because I'm like, okay, maybe it's my blood pressure machine. I got another one. And it's giving me the same general area of readings that I'm used to getting. So I'm just like, something is not right, okay? And it's not me, So, I just want to put that bug in y'all's ear. And look, put in the comments if you guys have experienced this as well, because this is really weird to me. I'm seeing a pattern. And like I said, especially with my girlfriend telling me, of a similar situation she has been experiencing. I'm like, but anyway, family, thank you for watching. I hope you got a little something out of this, made you gave you a little bit more awareness of things that's going on. Yeah, put in the comments if you've had the similar experience. Let me know, because I'm curious about this now. I love you guys. Great talking to you, and I will see you on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.